Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to the Market Color, brought to you by the Value Flow Trading team and powered by your favorite broker, our favorite broker, Opta. We're excited to have you all here. And during this period of this Market Color, we're going to be analyzing the following pairs. Today being Tuesday, we use for the Market Color, we analyze the commodity currencies and also US stock indices. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with the analysis on USD CAD, and then we're going to flow into NZD USD and AED USD as commodity currencies to analyze today. And afterwards, we're going to go on a short break. When we now return from the short break, we're going to be analyzing US stock indices, the US 30, that's DJ or Dow Jones 30, the NASDAQ 100, and the S&P 500. And afterwards, we're going to be taking a few commentaries, question and answers, and announcement, if any. Then we'll proceed to end the London session Market Color. Okay? So right about now, we're going to be starting off our analysis on USD CAD. Okay, sorry for that little delay. We're going to be proceeding into the analysis for USD CAD. Okay. All right, so this is USD CAD, and one very important thing that has been happening all week long that has led me into some reconsideration is that I've seen that clearly there's no direct or clear or obvious sentiment on the dollar during this period. We've been hammering on that for the past 2 weeks, and it's very evident when you check out the trades that we've been taking in dollar-related pairs. Sometimes you may see divergence and not correlation on most of them. And sometimes even when the correlation appears, it may be short-lived. All right, so it's as a result of inconclusive sentiment on the dollar. Now, looking at USD CAD, based on what we're seeing this morning, USD CAD is still in this range on the weekly time frame. So we just be taking day trading positions inside of all of this range on the weekly time frame. If you take a look at the daily time frame on USD CAD, you also see that daily time frame has its own range inside of the weekly range. So this is the weekly range, and then this is the daily range. Okay, so this is the daily range. Price has been ranging inside of here from this top, from this low to this high. Price has been ranging inside of it because there is no clarity on the dollar yet. If not, we're going to be seeing trending moves to a particular direction. Now, looking at what the dollar index is also doing, there is no clarity on that. We might see the dollar index selling off for the most part of this month until maybe next month before we see a resumption to the upside. We analyzed that yesterday and we were very clear on that. Now on USD CAD, you can also see on the 4-hour time frame, it's still caught up in this range. For me, this kind of range is what I would try to avoid as much as possible because you may end your account during this period. For instance, if you're looking at this range as a buy range from here to this level here, you can see the switch back to a sell. Now, I can almost assure you that knowing the box pattern, we might see USD CAD return back to this place again. Okay, so we might see USD CAD return back to that place for the box pattern. So what I would just advise you do is to take quick scalps of dollar-related currencies during this period. Whatever you see, you grab it and run away with it because the dollar is not clear on sentiment. Now on USD CAD, I'm expecting price to return to this level. Overall, there's no clear sentiment. Like I said, it's in a range, so we'll just be taking quick scalps. And one of the places we might be expecting quick scalps from is when USD CAD returns into this level right here as the left shoulder. So you can see the left shoulder right here. And then there is also the sweep right here. And then there is the break of structure that happened right here. Okay, so this is the break of structure. Now we're expecting another return from here all the way into that left shoulder to form the right shoulder. So this is what we're expecting, and then another sell off to the downside. So if you trade USD CAD, this should be a trade that you can look out for. And one of the things you can do to take advantage of that setup is on the 1 hour time frame. Now that we're seeing break of structure on the 1 hour time frame, if you see price break out of this range, because also on the 1 hour time frame there's another range inside the range. So on the weekly time frame there's a range. Inside of the weekly time frame there's a daily range. Inside of the daily time range there is the 1 hour range also. So I want to see price break out of this range, possibly to the downside all the way to this level right here. Okay, when price trades into this level right here, then I'll be willing to buy it all the way back up. Okay, so let me adjust this. So I would want to see something like this into here, then back here, and then sell off. So this is something I want to see. And one of the reasons is that I want to see a manipulation after this consolidation before an expansion to the upside. All right, seeing this consolidation, I expect price to return back to this breaker block right here. Okay, so this is what I'm expecting. Let me zoom in a little. This is what I'm expecting on USD CAD to play out going into the remaining part of this week. There's also CPI for the US, I think on Thursday. Yes, on Thursday. So that could instigate either of these positions we're expecting to happen. So on USD CAD, if you trade USD CAD, you can just watch out for a breakout of this range into this breakout block. Then we'll be taking a buy up to this place. This is going to be one of the assets that I'll be looking to take trades on for today. All right. Now let's go over to AUD USD. Now we're seeing almost like the opposite of what we're seeing on AUD USD on USD CAD. Well, let's start on the weekly time frame and observe the trend. Now, if you look at AUD USD, there is a prevailing sell trend to the downside, even though it didn't follow traditional trend line stuff. But then you can see that the trend is to the downside for AUD USD, even though it's looking like it's gaining momentum. However, you can see the last of your sell structure, which is from here. Okay, from here to here, price hasn't broken it yet. Okay, so this was the last sell structure. Lower high, lower low, lower high. There was no lower low again. So price is caught up in this range on the weekly time frame, and depending on when it's going to break it out. So I'll be looking forward to seeing maybe a breakout of that range, starting off from break or structure around here before we start seeing price going up. Else, we might see price continuing its downtrend to possibly target this liquidity right here. Okay, so that's that on AUD USD on the weekly time frame. Let's look at the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we can still see that range is quite clear. However, on the daily time frame, we are quite bullish because we've seen clear break of structure and retracements. We're also seeing continuation to the upside. So we might see AUD USD continuing this buy trend and breaking structures to the upside. Now let's look at it on the 4-hour time frame, because even though the dollar is not clear, we can take positions on all these currencies independent of what is happening right there on the dollar index. So on the daily time frame of AUD USD, you could see that is expanded to the upside. So on the 4-hour time frame, rather, you can see this expansion to the upside. So after an expansion, we'll be expecting a retracement to happen. One of the places I'm looking out for a retracement to happen is on this mitigation block. Okay, so I'll be looking out for mitigation block retracement. And one of the places I want to know if that retracement has started is on the 1-hour time frame. So if you see now that there is been a break of structure on the 1-hour time frame, even though there's not been any candle close, you can wait for one. Okay, if there's no candle close below this level, then I'll not be willing to take that sell. So I'll be looking out for a candle close below this level right here. You can see the black horizontal line. I want to see a candle close below it so I can take a sell to this level and then buy it back up. If I don't see a candle close below this level, then I'll start looking for buys from where price is currently to the upside. And I've shown you one of the targets, which is the previous highs on the daily time frame. Let me make reference to it one more time. Okay. All right, so this is a previous high on the daily time frame. So this could be a target for AUD USD buys. Okay, so you can target the immediate high, and after retracement, you can also start targeting the previous highs on AUD USD. All right, so this is what we're looking out for on AUD USD, and we're analyzing it independent of the dollar index and independent of commodity currency sentiment, because that is not the focus in the market generally. The main thing that is going on in the market currently is portfolio rebalancing. So at this point, it's best to analyze every pair independent of the other until we start seeing correlation resuming in the market, which we expect to see sometime within next week into the remaining part of the year. Then we can start trading based on sentiment. For now, the only sentiment that is playing out in the market is what we call bonds and bullion. And it has been playing out perfectly. Yesterday, it played out perfectly, even though we were not able to take advantage of it. But it played out so perfectly that I even felt bad not taking a trade based off it. All right, so that is just it. And let's move over to NZD USD. Now for NZD USD, let's look at it on the weekly time frame. You can see that it's having very similar structure as AUD/USD with the weekly time frame. You can see the trend is to the downside. All right, it has even obeyed traditional trend line pattern all the while. So let's look at on daily time frame. What do we have now? On the daily time frame of NZD/USD, you can see that market is still looking to trend to the downside. Now, like I said earlier, you can see obviously that NZD/USD and AUD/USD are not doing the same thing at the moment. And that is because sentiment is not clear on commodity currencies, just as it's not clear on dollar demand. So with this, I will usually analyze the pairs independently and then take trades in preferred direction based off my analysis at the moment. Okay. Now, if you look at NZD, clearly it has broken structure on the daily time frame to the downside. This is structure. Now, having broken the structure to the downside, we made a brief retracement into this fair value gap once again. Now, we might see a continuous sell on NZD/USD to the downside. All right, so NZD/USD may continue selling off to the downside. Let's get more hints on that on the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, we can see that even though it has broken structure to the upside, however, on the daily time frame, it's still showing us a sell setup. So it has come right here to grab this liquidity on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, so it has grabbed this liquidity residing here on the 4-hour time frame. Next up, I'll be waiting to see it sell off to the downside. Even though there's a box pattern showing in the opposite direction, or at least I can take off positions when price trades into here, then to see if we're going to see a resumption back to the upside, because there's box pattern to the upside, there's box pattern to the downside on NZD/USD. Okay, this is it. So we can keep trading in between this level since we are mostly in a range on major currencies. We would want to sell all the way here, then buy all the way here, then sell again, and until price breaks out of that range. Okay, so you can use the box pattern for your scalping models so that you'll be able to gain insight on direction of price even inside a range. All right, so for NZD/USD, we'll go to the 1-hour time frame and check out if we're going to see any break of structure. Now we've seen break of structure on the 1-hour time frame. There's also been a retest back to this other block on the 1-hour time frame. So NZD/USD still looks good for a sell. So if you see any sell entry signature, feel free to take the sell. I'm also willing to take that sell all the way to the downside. All right, so I'm big on seeing NZD/USD sell off all the way to 0.60580 level. All right, so I'm looking out for that sell of NZD/USD all the way to this level. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Let me take a few questions and comments so that I will now proceed into analysis for the US stock indices. G Crown says, please sorry to ask, is it the same trade being analyzed here is being given on TDA group? The trades that have been analyzed here are given on the TDA group. Even the ones that are not being analyzed here are also given on the TDA Plus group. So TDA Plus group is not just restricted to the trades that are analyzed here on a daily basis. Even the ones that are not analyzed here are given on the TDA Plus group. So I hope that is clear. Fumbi says, I know it's not GU day, but we can kindly create time to analyze GU. All right, so for me currently on GBP USD, I know today is not GBP USD day, but currently on GBP USD, sentiment is not clear. So I'm just looking to take quick scalps. I took some yesterday, although I got beaten, so I just decided to chill out. Even though I saw the most preferred trade yesterday, and I didn't take it, I preferred GU instead. However, after once beaten, twice shy, but I was beaten 2 times. So I have to be 4 times shy on GBP USD, okay? So I'll rather take caution than lose all my money to the market, all right? So for now that GBP USD is not clear, I'll just stay off and look at other value flow models that will give me direction. In fact, there's a value flow model that is giving me direction right now. So I'll go back after this analysis, reanalyze it, and then, of course, share it on the TDA Plus group when the trades materializes, okay? All right, so that will be all for now. We're going to go on a very short break for 40 seconds. When we return, we're going to be looking at US 30, NAS 100, S&P 500 as we proceed into the main part of today's market color, okay? So sit tight and enjoy the rest of today's market color. Welcome everybody to the second part of this New York, London session, market color, right? Welcome once again to this market color. We'll be going straight to the analysis on indices, asset class, and we're talking about the S&P 500, the US 30, and also NAS 100, right? Let's get started quickly and see what we are having in that market. They've been behaving very, very funny for the past 1 week, which is quite anticipated because of the election coming up very soon. However, they've not been responsive, especially for US 30, right? We've been seeing massive weak and rejection around US 30. Let's start with NAS 100 first before we move to US 30. So NAS 100 has been very bullish, right? That's been very, very bullish. In fact, it has been a new place of price discovery, right? Every pullback we've seen so far is for a sell, or for a buy, right? We've been seeing pullbacks, small pullbacks, and then price clearing the recent high to form new highs to the upside. And fundamentally, we've established that we're expecting this because we are in the election cycle period, and 1 year, and during the election, a year before the election and during the election year, you're going to see all stocks, all equities, and the rest, you see them rallying to the upside, right? However, once the election has taken place, and a year after the election, you see a decline. It's just a underlying sentiment that happens generally during elections in the US, right? And we've seen that playing out nicely on US 30, on US 100 as the NASDAQ, right? However, we're waiting for the same thing to happen on US 30, which has been stalling for the past, say, 2-3 weeks. We saw a kind of breakout at the beginning of the week, right? However, it has retraced every single thing that happened again. So it's quite funny and dicey but we are going to just keep our heads calm and then look for other opportunity in this market. So every retracement that has happened on the daily time frame has given us a buy to the upside, right? That's been bullish all the way. We have established this on 1 hour, and funnily, they've not been good signature entry for us to enter in terms of market structure and liquidity. It has just been bullish without any signature whatsoever. So I've not been able to take any trade from US 100 for a while now. We are anticipating this guy to give us a trade opportunity, but funnily that day we had US bank holiday, and so it stalled all the way and then resumed the buy movement the next day. So that's all on NAS 100. I believe if there's going to be any pullback again, probably there's a fair value gap here with a form of structural liquidity underneath it. We should see some level of buying pressure from this, right? Because we've seen the struggle to the upside and then probably a tank, and then price will continue the rally to the upside again from US 100. But for now, it's in a new area of price discovery. It's a new area of price discovery. So you want to be careful about yourselves. In fact, I accept you have strong head very well before you can sell in this market, because there's no point selling, right? Overall, it's bullish. There's no even point. You can't, it doesn't make sense scalping a sell. Yeah, just wait for pullbacks and then you enter to follow the market in its original direction, right? So let's go back to our US 30 that we've been waiting for. This breakout happened yesterday. Smooth breakout. Thought it was going to, this other block was going to hold, violated the other block violently on the daily time frame. Let's just see what's happening. We've been on this, guys, for a while now. We've been on this entire ranging market we've been having for a while now, right? We saw that fake breakout to the upside, and I believe price is still going to fill that entire week and then continue pushing to the upside, right? But for now, we are seeing it in a range. Market is really ranging. It's really ranging for Dow Jones. Let's go to the 4 hours. It's still the same thing. Nothing really spectacular. However, I'm seeing something now concerning market structure and liquidity that I might want to, capitalize on. I want to capitalize on that to take the buy to the upside, right? So let me just draw that out. Give me a sec. Let me just draw that out. I'm seeing something very interesting. Give me a sec. Okay. So I'm seeing something very interesting around this level, right? A strip has already happened. A strip of this last place. I'm going to put it on 1 hour and then we're going to see it together. A strip on 4 hours, and then these guys serve as structural liquidity to the upside, right? And then we're expecting price to clear it violently and then continue to the upside. Let me put it on 1 hour so we can see what I'm trying to explain clearly. And then we better refine it. These are market structure and liquidity strategy. We've seen our price swept through this previous low, yeah, right? Swept through this previous low, and what did we see after? So that moved to the upside, right? Giving us a structural liquidity. Interesting. Giving us a structural liquidity. Let me drag it to the side. Right? Giving us a structural liquidity. Funnily, on this broker, Black Bull, price has cleared that structural liquidity. On the broker I was using to check the market this morning. It hasn't even gotten to that place. That's why it's good sometimes to just confirm with multiple broker, because they have slightly different data field, right? Price has even tapped into this guy. Price has tapped into it, and then we can see the push to the upside. However, I'm also anticipating we might see that second movement, right? Price is going to come to this downside, something like this, to go and fill up this entire movement because you remember overall we are entirely bullish from daily time frame, from 4 hours time frame, even sentiment wise, we are very, very bullish, right? So we're just waiting for the market to align so that US30 can be in sync back with the rest of the peers in that indices asset class. S&P 500 is in a new area of price discovery. The same thing with NAS 100, that's the NASDAQ. They're also entirely bullish. The only guy remaining for the entire asset class to align is US30. It has been stalling for a while now. So we expect it to also respect the overall direction of the trend of the market. So this is one area I'm looking out for. The first entry has already taken place, has already happened here. This first guy here has already happened, and price has triggered cleared the structural liquidity that was formed here, and then we are seeing that movement gradually to the upside. However, I just want to believe that it might come back again. It might come back again, because once structural liquidity has been taken out, price has every reason to continue in the original direction it was going. So probably, if we're lucky, we might see another retracement to the downside, pick this order here, and then we'll continue to the upside. Let me use this, something like this. Then, and like we've already stated, the overall TP, the first TP is this guy here. Been waiting for it for months now, right? Coming. The first TP is our 0.00 fib level. That is our first take profit. That's our first take profit. The second take profit, of course, is the fib extension minus 23.6 minus 50.0. This other fib level might look onto for further price movement. But once price gets to that place, they are in areas of discovery. So we are not really bothered. The first one we want to see is this major one here. And I strongly believe if price, if we are very, very, very lucky, price should come back, and then we continue this movement to the upside. But to be sincere and to be honest, structural liquidity has been taken out, and if that has happened, price has every reason to just continue its movement to the upside. So that will be the end of analysis on US30 and also NAS 100 this morning. Please, if you have any question, you can begin to ask your question in the chat box. If you had any question, you have any opinion, any other addition or subtraction, any gray area you want us to shed more light on, you can ask your question in the chat box. Before we take commentary from our boss this morning, you can do well to ask your question. Just quickly type them in the chat box before we take our commentary this morning. So while you're doing that, we'll be inviting our boss to give his commentary this morning on the markets. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Demola. Good morning, everyone. Good to have you here. Father Yomi says, good morning, sir. Please, analysis on gold. Okay, fantastic. Very first thing I will say with regard to analysis on gold, please pull up gold, pull up the XY, pull up gold, pull up the XY. But let's start with gold. Now, since the start of this year, we have had an issue in the sense that gold and dollar have both been bullish, and this type of behavior is very rare. It didn't even actually start this year. It's something that has been on since last year. The last time we had negative correlation between gold and dollar was somewhere around first quarter to middle of 2023. And it has been very confusing, because if you look at dollar index on the daily, dollar index has been trending higher. Dollar index has been trending higher on the daily, and gold has also been trending higher on the daily. Let's see gold on the daily or even the weekly. So from a sentiment perspective, that threw me off balance and threw many sentiment or intermarket traders off balance, because if you zoom out, you can see gold making higher highs and dollar too making higher highs. So immediately that happened, right, it just made me realize that, okay, we really can't wait for that relationship to come back before we trade gold, right? And a second thing that, okay, yeah, so this is gold since last year, right? If you can compare it with DXY, overlay DXY on that chart. So that's the first thing. Those of you that trade like bonds and bullion, that know the bonds and bullion model, you will notice that there has been a challenge in that area. So from a long-term perspective, from a sentiment perspective, from a fundamental perspective, they have been moving in the same direction, right? But that's largely because of, okay, fantastic. So can you zoom out a bit? No, it's too much. It's too, okay, so now do you see that historically up, gold typically trends down. But throughout this year, can you hear me now? Internet has been funny.
We can hear you, but it's breaking.
Yes, the internet went off briefly, but it's back now. So, like I said the last time we saw that correlation was around middle of 2023. Now, I've been trading gold correlation, gold versus dollar, gold versus USD JPY for at least since 2014, 2013. So what happened in the course of this year, put a line on 2024, put a line on that 2024, is that we now saw positive correlation. Yes, exactly, right there. If you notice, zoom in a bit now. Zoom in a bit. All right. So if you now notice what is going on, since the beginning of the year, gold has been making higher highs and DXY2 has been making higher highs. No, you've overzoomed. You've overzoomed. Just zoom back into January. So I'm saying this to let you know that anytime you see sentiment failing, you need to understand why. Sentiment has been failing because Japanese yen has been at an all-time low. All-time low. So the yen is the one that has caused this correlation issue because the yen has just been selling off drastically. However, in the last 2 months, gold has been stalling. Look at gold. Let's zoom in. Gold has been stalling and gold has been ranging. So gold has been stalling, gold has been ranging. Zoom in. Okay. Now, gold has been stalling, gold has been ranging. If you look at the shoulder pattern, that's our shoulder, that's our sweep, but we have not had a clear break of structure to the downside.
Yeah.
So I'm very skeptical of any sell because we have our shoulder, we have our sweep, but if you see the low that was formed between May and June, that low didn't break the other low. So it's making me wonder. So the only thing you can do now on gold is scalping. Like this return of price, exactly. There is going to be a grab of liquidity. Before you take any long-term buy, that liquidity must be grabbed where that horizontal line is. That liquidity must be grabbed. If you look at it, you see that there is a triple bottom right there.
Yeah.
After that line you drew, there is a bottom with a railroad, exactly, with variation. That's one there. There's another one just after it, slightly higher.
Yeah.
There's another one just after it, slightly lower. Exactly. Yeah. So that's too juicy. That's too juicy for it to be ignored. So any return of price to that level, you can scalp all the way down to that level, knowing we are in a range. We are in a range. So you can take a sell where price is now, because there's a shoulder, there's a sweep. There was no break of structure to the downside, but it has gone back to grab that liquidity inside the fair value gap so it can break down to the downside. So let's look at it on the 4-hour. Let's look at it on the 4-hour. So just know that everything you are doing now is you are scalping based on liquidity concepts only. You are scalping based on liquidity concepts only. So any sell you are doing, right? Any sell you are doing that taps into that so it can come down to that low is a short-term sell. Target the high and the low of the day. If it breaches the high of yesterday, you can target the low for today because price has grabbed liquidity to the upside and is coming back down. But for a long-term basis, I don't have a long-term bias on gold until the relationship between dollar and gold returns and until that range that we just marked gets broken. Everything you are doing is a short-term scalp, especially in view of US elections, which has not given dollar a clear-cut trend, in view of geopolitical risk. So that's the issue. Understand this, the market conditions change. So except you're a day trader or a scalper taking trades off things like market maker model or Q zones. When I say Q zones, you are trading the move of London session, you are trading the move of New York session. There is not much going on in the market in terms of trends. This is why you notice most people have been saying, I've been having winning streak on gold. I've been having winning streak on gold. Gold is a buy right now. You don't see them say that because it's only short-term scalps you can go for. Let's look again at today, intraday, 15 minutes. So how I am trading now in this uncertain regime where there is no clear sentiment, there is no clear sentiment. The only thing that has some form of a clear sentiment is our yen pairs, but fundamentally the yen is still weak.
Yeah.
Fundamentally the yen is still weak, but from a structure perspective, we may have a pullback and yen pairs may sell off briefly, but fundamentally the yen is still weak. Okay, so look at this now, for example, the low of yesterday, sorry, the low, exactly, that's the low of yesterday right there, right? Then that's the high. If you look at this now, very clearly, fair value gap into that low of the London session. I'm in a call. So let's mark that out. Shoulder, sweep, no break of structure to the downside. If you are not already in a trade in gold, I advise you to leave gold alone. But that's the shoulder, that's the sweep. Exactly. That's the shoulder, that's the sweep there. Exactly. Shoulder, sweep. Look at the liquidity levels below. Price hasn't gone to grab those lows. There's a low there. There's a low even before that one. Below that one, if you zoom out a bit, you will see the low from the day. Even before, there's another low. There are 3 lines there. There are 3 lines there. Zoom out a bit. Exactly. Do you see that other low there? Exactly. You can see it. Thank you. So based off of that, this is what I think will happen. We'll see a pullback of price above that high, then price will come back down and target those lows. If price gets above that high, the weekly open, that's around 238, 2390 levels. 2390 levels, right? It won't show you price except you delete the dollar or 2390 levels. That's around the weekly open. The weekly open, 2390, exactly, somewhere around there. 2388, 2390. If price doesn't clear that liquidity below those lows and price taps above that 2380, 2390 levels, I can be willing to sell. I can be willing to sell. But for now, gold is in no man's land. Gold is in no man's land. So just stay away from it. Mark those levels. You can put your sell limits there. Mark those levels. But like I always say, anytime you want to trade gold, this is what you should look out for. Number one, the relationship between gold and the dollar. Typically, they should be opposite. If they are opposite, it serves as an extra layer of confirmation. If that relationship is not there, you look at the structure and you're looking at things like the weekly open. Why? Because where gold is right now, gold is ranging and is building liquidity. And when price is building liquidity, it grabs the highs and the lows, the highs and the lows. It grabs the highs and the lows. So that's very important. Okay. I hope this has been helpful, Father Ejimi. If it's not, you can ask me the question in another way. I can answer. Now, personally, for my trades today, I am currently short on. For my trades today, I am currently selling Euro USD and GBP USD. I'm selling Euro USD from about I'm selling GBP USD from yesterday from about 2820 levels. 2820 levels. I'm selling it. And why am I selling it? It's very simple. Show me GBP USD on the 1 hour time frame. GBP USD on the 1 hour time frame. Exactly. Where did you mark? 1.28. 1.2820. Exactly. That's where I'm selling from. That place that you marked 2820. 1.2820. And that's because of the shoulder that was breached to the downside.
Yes.
There's a shoulder that was breached from yesterday, a very long shoulder. Where is that long shoulder? Exactly, that's it there. You see that sharp move to the upside, sharp move to the downside. So I already entered. But you can see you have already marked 2820.
Yes.
Exactly. You are waiting for the trade. Me, I entered not based on box pattern. I entered based on sentiment. But you can see that, yes, price will go back to that level and then collapse down. So we have pretty much the same thing. The only thing is I am already in.
Yes.
I am already in because I'm trading sentiment. I'm not using box for the entry. I use sentiment. I'm also selling, but Euro USD. I'm also selling Euro USD. And I started my sell on Euro USD from 2.8. It hasn't gone very far. It was since yesterday from 1.0822. 1.0822. 1.0822. So if it breaks the low of yesterday, which is around 1.0814, 1.0810, then I know it's going all the way to the downside. So that's basically it. But this, my trade, is a sentiment trade. It's not a structure-based trade. It's not a structure-based trade. Now, you may want to also look at USD JPY. You may want to look at USD JPY. There is a shoulder, there is a sweep, there's a break of structure to the downside. So if the high of today and the high of yesterday, if they get grabbed, if they get swept, price will continue to the downside. Those are the trades that I'm looking at for now. But please note, there is no clear sentiment yet. There's no clear sentiment, no clear direction. Everything is pretty much in a range. Everything is pretty much in a range, and it will continue that way for a while. So just take your quick scalps, and that's basically it. Okay? Stick to your rules. This is not the time to be breaking your rules. Your shoulder, your sweep, your break of structure to the downside, your fair value gap being formed, a return to the fair value gap. Exactly. So, and then price breaking to the downside. Zoom in on this. So price, you can see price has broken structure. Price has broken structure. that low, exactly. Price has broken that. Price has broken that low to the downside. Where's my shoulder? See my shoulder there. That was formed last week. That's the shoulder. That's the sweep. Shoulder around 161.19. 161.19. 161.19. 161.19. Exactly. That's the shoulder there.
Yeah.
Formed yesterday. That's the shoulder there. Exactly. You can zoom in. I don't think the people can really see it. Yes, Mark, that's the news of today is going to be some measure of trigger. If you check Forex Factory, exactly. So that's my shoulder there. Yes. Why did I choose that as my shoulder? It's very simple. There's a fair value gap there just before it. So that's the shoulder, which is the inducement. Then you can see the sweep, a push to the upside. Exactly. That grabs that equal high. That grabbed that equal high into that fair value gap. So for some people, even that sweep is an entry. That sweep is an entry. Why? Because there's a fair value gap, there's inducement. Fair value gap inducement. So we may see price tap into that level, back into that level, and then come all the way to the downside, targeting 160 spot 40 levels. So shoulder, sweep, break of structure to the downside. That exactly, that low. It didn't close below it, but it grabbed that liquidity. Then it went back up to the left shoulder to mitigate. That's a sell entry there. That's a sell entry. But because it didn't come all the way down, so this is where trade management comes in. That's a sell entry there. It didn't come all the way down. It has gone back to that same level. We may see a grab of liquidity, price just tapping above those two highs, the high of yesterday and the high of today, and then coming down and clearing 160 spot 20 level. So you can do your simple risk to reward. If you enter at 161 spot, exactly, that's the inducement. So you may see price come and tap above it and then come down. Exactly. So your stop can be at that either 161.40 levels or the one above it. Exactly. Just something small like that, pop down to the downside. And my only challenge is we're not seeing fair value gaps being formed. We're not seeing huge momentum moves. That's the only challenge. But yes, that is a very clean and clear scalp. Clean and clear scalp to break the low of yesterday's New York session, which is around 160 spot 50 levels, or to break the low of yesterday and to just come back down. So those are basically the trades that I'm looking at. Those are basically the trades that I'm looking at. The problem with that particular trade that I've listed is going against sentiment. Is really going against sentiment because dollar is supposed to be
Stronger than yen.
I didn't hear you.
Stronger than yen.
Yes. So that's the only thing. But those are the levels one is looking at. So if the sell on Euro USD and USD, it has grabbed the low of Asia. It has grabbed the low of Asia and is moving to the upside. But I still believe that dollar wants to strengthen. I still believe dollar wants to strengthen overall. All right. So at times like this, you trade very safely. You don't move your stop loss. You don't increase your lot size because the market is uncertain. After Powell's speech, like someone commented, that should give the market some level of clear direction and all of that. So I hope this has been helpful. Remember, don't forget, these are our ground rules. We look for our shoulders. Left shoulder, we look for a sweep that grabs liquidity and breaks structure, forming fair value gap. We look for a break of structure to the downside, Then we look for a return back to that shoulder, and then we can enter from there. But before we enter from there, confirm the sentiment on the higher time frame, confirm the currency strength using FIMVs, confirm if there is data release using forexlive.com, and then use very minimal risk management. Don't take too many trades. Typically, 2 trades per day if you must take a trade, and let that trade be around a session. Like London session, what they call kill zone. You're looking at it between 7 o'clock and 9:30, 10 o'clock. Or New York, you're looking at it around 1:30 to about 3:34. Typically, just 2 trades can be gotten in that period. Once you get stopped out, leave it and wait for the next day. If you can preserve your capital, you will be learning, and over time, you become very good. All right? Hope this is helpful. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Over to you, Damon.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. We're grateful for the commentary. Saying thank you. So that'll be all for today. This market color session will be convening again by 3 o'clock p.m. for New York market color session. Let's be reminded, for those that want to sign up for the Abuja edition of ATM cash flow training, we've been seeing all of your DMs. We've been receiving a lot of DMs, and also registration has started. Registration opened last week, right? For those that want to register for the training, it's going for 150,000 naira, right? For those coming physically to the training, right, it's 150,000 in the city of Abuja. Just send us a DM. We are open, and then we're going to give you all the necessary information about that particular training. This will be our first ATM cash flow in the city of Abuja, so you should not miss it at all. Like we said already, in the ads that was, made, that most of the people saw, we said that boss also will be available for that particular training, right? You want to ask him all of your questions as regards to how to trade VIX75 and the likes of all the asset class in deriv. Ensure you are there so you can ask all of your questions live and direct from him, and as well other facilitators in the academy. So be reminded about that. Also, our bots are still available for sale. The Sterling Scalper, the Dr. Bills GU bots, the Truth EA bots, and also for those that want to make HFT passing their business, the Accelero HFT bot is also available, right? So a quick information about the Accelero HFT bot. Usually we only had MT4 HFT pricing. Right now, as we speak, we have both MT4 and MT5. And luckily, if you're buying the Accelero HFT bot, you're getting both the MT4 and MT5 bots for HFT pricing purposes. So you can do well to reach out to us if you want that. Lastly, we have the fund manager bot also available for sale. So that will be all for today. Thank you so much. Every other information you have, you can do well to ask. Okay, Aliu Saidu is asking how much. So I'm going to do a quick rundown for the prices. The Sterling Scalper bot is $600, and the Dr. Bills GU bot is $500. Truth EA is $300. Fund manager is $175, and the Accelerate HFT bot is $1,500 to get the HFT passing bot. So for further information, sir, you can do well to just send us a DM, and we're going to respond to all of your questions. Thank you so much. Thank you. We'll meet again by 3 o'clock for the New York market color session. Cheers and God bless.